Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today we have another Steve Carell film for you, as I always do on Thursdays. It is a promise and I will stick to it. Foxcatcher is the movie we're going to be reviewing today. It's got Steve Carell in it and I'm very excited to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Foxcatcher. Foxcatcher was released in 2014, and I really enjoy saying the word Foxcatcher. To those of you who are at home, just say it real quick. Say it with me. Foxcatcher. I love the word. I love the word. I am distracted. It was written by E. Max Fry and Dan Futterman, and it was directed by Bennett Miller. So this movie is based on true events, and it is said to be extremely true to the stories that happened. There are only a couple things that are off, like the weird homosexual vibes you get in between the two main characters. But the rest of it is entirely true, and almost exactly how it happened. And it's about John DuPont, and he is a crazy person, like actually crazy, and he is training wrestling people to be good at wrestling, even though he's not very good at wrestling. But he is psychotic, so he thinks he's good at wrestling, and all this really is to impress his mom, really. It's complicated. And it's about Mark Schultz and Dave Schultz, who are brothers, and they're both trying to get to the World Series, but are being demoralized by John DuPont, and one of them, ultimately, spoilers, ends up being dead. So there will be spoilers in this review, some slight spoilers. If you know about the John DuPont story, there are no spoilers, because it's literally just the story. But for those of you who are sensitive to spoilers and don't want to get spoiled, consider watching another one of my videos instead. But for those of you who don't care and have already watched it, let's talk about Foxcatcher. So, first I'm going to talk about the acting, I think, and I'm going to talk about what I thought about the movie. So first of all, Steve Carell as John DuPont. Wow, he looks incredibly different. I don't think I'll put a picture up here of it, but if you're curious, go ahead and search Steve Carell, John DuPont, and it's whoa. It blew my mind how the makeup and like the special effects just really created a character. Steve Carell is menacing in this film. He is scary and like heartbreaking, and like it's scary as shit. It's wow. I don't have words for how good he was in this film. I don't think he must have been nominated for something. I think he was nominated for Best Actor, but regardless, he should have been if he wasn't. It's interesting. And his voice maybe should have been masked a little bit more. He had this like cool way of talking like this, which was kind of cool. But for some parts of the movie where he was like yelling and stuff like that, we knew it was him. But like other than that, you don't know it's Steve Carell at all. And what a performance by Steve Carell. One of his better performances, in my opinion. Like overall in general. I don't think it's going to be his best performance overall, but I think it was one of his better performances overall. Channing Tatum as Mark Schultz. I've seen a couple of films with Channing Tatum, but not a lot. I've always liked Channing Tatum. I do think he's a good actor, and in this is no different. He plays, a shy and like self-contained wrestler who just wants to be really good at the sport and doesn't really care about anything else. He's never really had friends, and he finds one in John DuPont, but then he realizes that things are kind of crazy, particularly when he gives him cocaine, and he allows him to do that, and he lets his life spiral, and then he realizes he really hates John DuPont, like with a burning passion, and it kind of goes downhill from there when they argue a lot and they no longer talk, and that leads John DuPont to kill his brother, who is Mark Ruffalo, who plays David Schultz. Mark Ruffalo is amazing. I love Mark Ruffalo, and like this was really weird for me because he played like this laid back like 30-year-old dad, and like it just looked really funny. And the way that like all the characters would walk, like they would walk like wrestlers, where like the back was like kind of hunched up like that, and like it was really cool how they did that. I'm very interested in how they did that, but I don't know how they did that. I assume they just trained about it. I heard that Mark Ruffalo and Channing Tatum had to train for a long time for this, and then they hated it, but that's fine. Mark Ruffalo is fantastic. I love Mark Ruffalo in general, and this role for him is just really extraordinary. Because normally he just plays either strictly comedic roles or strictly like love interest roles if he was younger. But for this role, he was like a dramatic, funny, laid-back character. Nothing in this movie is funny. Nothing in this movie is funny. There are almost no jokes. But when there was, Mark Ruffalo was there. But that's all the acting, really. I mean, there was other actors and actresses, but like those were the three main characters. And I'm going to talk about what I thought about the film. So, first of all, there's like no music for the first like half an hour of this movie. Like literally like none. Like there are long shots of like a car driving with just no music at all. It's haunting, really. But I don't know if that was the smart choice. Because later on, then they decided to add music. And I feel like if they're going to decide that, they should either decide to either have it or not have it. And when the music was there, it was always really quiet. I think this is because when John DuPont shoots David Schultz, it's really loud. Like the shots are really loud. I think they haven't... It's complicated because they didn't have music in the beginning, but then they did in the end, like towards the end, before the shooting. But I think having all the stuff be quiet is on purpose, so that when the gunshots happen, it's like shocking. Because for those of you who haven't heard of the John DuPont story, it's going to be shocking when he just kills someone, because it doesn't look like he's going to be capable of killing someone, and then he does. I don't know if it was intentional to not have music. I don't know if it was intentional to have music in the end. I tried to look for some relevance between them and try to figure out like why would there be music here but not there. I couldn't find any relevance. I'm sure there probably is relevance. I just didn't see it myself, which is a little bit of a negative because I just felt like it was kind of random to just not have music in the beginning but then have it later. I don't know. Maybe it's a me thing, but I just didn't quite understand why they would do that. If any of you watch this movie and know about the relevance of the music, please let me know. As for plot, I think it was okay. I know I made it sound really good, but that's because the acting's really good. The plot itself is kind of weird, where I heard there's like a whole like homophobic feel about it, and like I didn't really feel that. I didn't feel that John DuPont was coming on to Channing Tatum at all. I felt like it was more of a father-son thing. It was, but now I look back on it like maybe there was something, but like maybe I just didn't catch it. I don't really know what was going on with that. I've heard it, I read about it, and I'm like, I don't really think that's a problem. I didn't feel it in the film, which is interesting. But overall, in terms of the plot, I think it was a little slow. I think the beginning was really fast, and I was really hooked in the beginning because we're just focused on Mark Schultz. But then we have John DuPont, and we have David Schultz, and these are two characters that like are vastly different, and we haven't quite gotten done learning about Mark before we have to learn about these other characters. Excuse me, I'm still like a little stuffy. I don't really know what's going on. I think I just have a cold. But overall I didn't hate the movie at all. I really enjoyed the movie. There were just some parts of the movie that I just didn't quite enjoy. Like the ending when he shot him, like for one, was visceral and surprising. Like I knew it happened because I know the story of John DuPont, but like I was not ready to like for it to be like that like fast. It literally was like he drove by and was like, "Hey, you got a problem with me?" and then just shot him. And I was like, and like it was loud too. Like the shots were so loud in comparison to like the rest of the film, which I'm wondering if that was on purpose. I think it was. Hard to tell. This does feel like one of those movies that would be better in a movie theater than on my television. But overall, generally a pretty good movie. I enjoyed watching it. I loved the performances. The acting in this film is top notch. The story is a little awkward at times, but it's not like unfollowable and it's not unlikable. But I'm going to go ahead and give this movie an A-. So, let's talk about next week real quick. So tomorrow we have The Social Network coming out, and then we start the regular schedule, where Monday we have DCEU, Tuesday we have Leonardo DiCaprio, Wednesday's MCU, Thursday's Steve Carell, and Friday's Request. Next week we have Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, The Departed, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, hopefully featuring my buddy Julian again. Minions, which is technically not a Steve Carell film. I am going to watch it because I need to watch it in order to watch Minions 3. Despicable Me 3. So I probably will not include it in the Steve Carell series, but I am replacing a Thursday with Minions because I am going to be forced to watch it as well. And then The Queen's Gambit on Friday, which I filmed like 2 weeks ago already because I watched it way faster than I thought it was going to. Also, actually, it probably has already come out. But if you see random movies coming out on like Saturdays or Sundays, that is because I'm taking a film class in college, and that starts, for me, it starts tomorrow from when I'm filming this. But by the time this comes out, I'll already be a couple weeks in. Because I got a little bit ahead of myself, so that way I didn't have to do so much during college hours. But I have to watch some movies for that class, and because of that, I will be releasing some stuff on a Saturday or Sunday every now and then, because if I'm going to watch a movie, I might as well review it on the channel, and that way you guys get to experience it with me. But yeah, that's going to do it for me today. Overall, I think I'm pretty excited for next week. Next week's going to be at least interesting. I only have to watch a couple movies next week, but, you know, Batman vs. Superman is 3 hours long, so we'll see how that goes. But that's going to do it for me today. As always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.